Hey everybody, I hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the word. And today that word is master. Master. Now you see that picture there at the beginning, a picture of a chess piece, the king on a chess set. There we go, on a chess board. And a lot of times as you're looking, just thinking about that board, some of you, if you know how to play chess, you say, "Well, yeah, but the queen is the one that's got all the power, right? That's the one that can do all the moves. The king just does one thing at a time." But the whole game, either you win or lose based on where your king is. And without really trying to stretch that metaphor too far, right? Our whole lives matter with where we have put the King Jesus, and how we're dealing with him, and how not that we'd lose him like we would in a chess match. So I said, don't take it that far, but to think about as Jesus this week, as we're looking at the days leading up to Easter, you see him as he gets to the temple, and then he is teaching and preaching and sharing, and of course the religious elite, as I call them, they would come up and have basically a formal inquiry of what exactly Jesus was doing. Now, part of this was really their job, right? That if anybody came to claim to be a prophet, then they would study them. They would ask who they got their authority from. Where did they learn? Where did they go to school? And what exactly was the message they were teaching? So in that, they were right to come and figure out, hey, is this real? Is this true prophecy, or is this false prophecy? False prophecy could be the result of being a false prophet, could mean that you were stoned to death. And that's one of the reasons that we see they were so quick to turn against Jesus. But the crowds of people normally kind of influenced maybe what they wanted to say. So today, Luke 20, verses 1 through 8. Now, to happen on one of those days, as he taught the people in the temple and preached the gospel, that the chief priests and the scribes, together with the elders, confronted him and spoke to him, saying, "Tell us, by what authority are you doing these things? Or who is he who gave you this authority?" But he answered and said to them, "I also will ask you one thing, and answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or from men?" They reasoned among themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say, why then did you not believe him? But if we say from men, all the people will stone us, for they are persuaded that John was a prophet." So they answered that they did not know where it was from. And Jesus said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." You see, as I said, they would have already had the responsibility of understanding where John's power came from. Now, some will argue here that because Jesus didn't answer it, then he was denouncing that his authority came from God and from heaven, and that is completely false. You look, there's countless other times in Scripture where he does display and very well says that his authority comes from heaven, that he and the Father are as one, and we see this. But at this particular time, he's trying to drive home the point. If you don't want to hear the answer, then don't ask the question. And that's one of the reasons I put that chess picture up to begin with. Chess is a game where you're always trying to really think multiple steps ahead and try to outsmart your opponent. And I think too often we are like these scribes and we try to outsmart God. We try to think that, okay, I can do this, and then God will answer in this way, and then I'll be able to do this. And man, we manipulate even in our prayers, even in our service, even in our ministries, even in the way that we handle the things of God. We tend to have a desire to be flesh and to think that we can outsmart God. I hate to tell you, and we know it to be true, God's already there. He's not just a step or 10 steps ahead of us. He's infinite steps ahead of us. He knows our thoughts and intents of our hearts. So when these people came asking, where's this authority come from? They were scared to say it was from heaven, because they didn't really want to give Jesus that almost that satisfaction in their minds. But they knew that if they said that John's power, if they didn't say rather that John's power was from heaven, then all the people would say, y'all missed it. He was a real prophet sent from God, and they thought that Jesus was the same. So they thought that they would be stoned for false prophecy. You know what really would have happened? They could have submitted to the power of God. They could have had, as we talked about Sunday, that could have been their moment of visitation. That could have been their moment of saving faith in Jesus Christ, who was right before them. But instead, because they thought they could outsmart him, and because they were more concerned about their own skin, they decided to refuse the answer. Fine, we just won't answer you at all. We'll say we don't know. You know, I've gotten on my kids before, and I know even as I was a kid, you know, you say, whatever. One of those things is, you know, what's wrong? Nothing. What do you mean? Well, what's going on? I don't know. Right? That's the way that we treat God. When he asks us and we really just don't want to answer, we just pout and we say, I don't know. But yet we still expect God to answer us. How absurd is that? And so Jesus tells them, fine, if you're going to act like you don't know, and you're not going to tell me what you really think, then I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to answer your question. It all stemmed to the fact that they didn't want to know. They did not want to submit themselves. They did not want to admit for one moment that everything that they thought, everything that they had been doing, they didn't want to think that any of that was wrong. So in their pride, they refused Jesus. And today, there are many, countless souls that are refusing Jesus simply because they don't want to be wrong. And actually, when they're refusing Jesus, that's exactly what they're doing. So today, would you be one to refuse him? Or would you be one to say, yes, Jesus, I believe that you are the God-man, fully God and fully man, who died on that old rugged cross for me, died and was buried and raised to life again that first Easter Sunday. And say, I believe that because you, Jesus, are the Master. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.